Paradigm shift, the two statuses. Some people spend their entire lives trying to earn the right to exist. They buy cars to prove they are worthy. They build careers to get permission to breathe. They seek approval in the eyes of strangers because once they didn't receive it in the eyes of their parents. And their entire lives becomes an endless race for external proof of internal worth, which they secretly believe they do not have. The question is, why does a person who has everything for happiness feel empty? Why doesn't money heal shame? Why doesn't status provide safety? Why can you be successful and simultaneously, deeply, fundamentally not feel you're right to be? Most people never ask themselves this question because they don't know about the existence of two types of statuses. They think status is only social position, only what can be measured, counted, shown to others, but that's only half the picture, the less important half. The first status is social. This is money, cars, apartments, positions, connections, follower counts. This is what can be lost in a single day. What depends on external circumstances, what others can give and can take away. This status is like clothing. You can put it on to impress, but when you're alone, you take off the clothes and see yourself, the real you. And if there is nothing beneath the clothes, no internal anchor, no sense of your own enoughness, you will cling to the clothes and fear losing them. The second status is biological. This is not about money. This is about whether you feel your right to take up space in the world, the right to breathe, the right to say no, the right to desire, the right to exist without apologies and justifications. This does not come from outside. It is either inside you or it isn't, and if it isn't, no cars, apartments, or positions will ever fill that gap. Most people try to compensate for low biological status through high social status. It seems to them, if I earn enough money, if I achieve a high enough position, if I receive recognition, then I will finally feel worthy. But this is a mistake. Biological status does not grow from external achievements. External achievements are anesthesia, not medicine. They dull the pain but do not heal the wound. The wound appears early, when a child was not given what they needed. Unconditional acceptance, mirroring the feeling that they are okay simply because they exist. Instead, they were given conditions. You are good if you are convenient. You are worthy of love if you comply. You have the right to exist if you earn it. And the child grows up with a black hole inside. They try to fill it with achievements, approval, social status, but the hole is bottomless. No matter how much you put in, it all falls through. The real solution is not to fill the hole, but to heal it. This is a long, painful process. It requires looking your shame in the face, your belief in your own insufficiency, your fear of being rejected. This is shadow work, trauma work, CPTSD work. This is the path through the cocoon, through the destruction of the old identity, through the death of the one who believed they were not enough. And on the other side of this path, something incredible happens. The person stops proving their right to live and simply starts living. They stop earning love and start choosing those who are capable of loving. An internal authority appears, an anchor that does not depend on external approval. They no longer ask the world for permission to be. They know their worth. They can support themselves. Such a person becomes what can be called a therapeutic role model, not because they heal others, but because their very presence, their ability to be whole, authentic, to accept themselves and others, it creates a space in which others can also begin to heal. They do not abuse their status. They serve not from weakness, but from fullness. They carry knowledge not from a position of superiority, but from the position of someone who walked through hell and returned to tell there is a way out. And here is what becomes the criterion of happiness and maturity for such a person. Happiness is not euphoria. It is ability to create conditions for satisfying one's needs in alignment with one's values, grounded in one's visions, meanings, mission, and path. And therapy minimizes frustration. This is not a life without problems. This is a life in which you do not betray yourself, in which you yourself provide your own safety, regulate your own emotions, find your own intimacy, feel your own worth, not because someone gave it to you, but because you created it yourself. When you live like this, power games lose their meaning. You see them, you know how to play them, trauma taught you manipulation, you're an expert at it. But you choose not to participate because power over others is compensation, an attempt to get from outside what is not inside. And when you have internal anchoring, you don't need to control others, you don't need them to acknowledge your worth. You are free. You are free to choose people, not by social status, but by essence, by whether they know how to listen, whether they see the real you, whether they respect your boundaries, whether they accept you wholly without conditions. Your friend may be nobody in social terms, no money, no tributes of success, but if they know how to be present, if they see your core, if they create space where you can be yourself, they are precious. They're worth more than 100 high status people who don't know how to love. And then another shift occurs. You stop fearing the loss of people in whose presence your needs are constantly frustrated. Fearing rejection from such people is like fearing to heal from a chronic illness. The symptoms of this illness are known: disrespect, emotional immaturity, demands, anxiety, the feeling that you must earn the right to be. Why be afraid to part with these symptoms? Why cling to the illness? You're not afraid, you let go easily, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. You understand, people who cause pain, they're not evil. They simply haven't suffered enough yet to begin their own path of transformation. Everyone has their own timing, everyone has their own point from which the journey to wholeness begins. You cannot force it, you cannot save them. You can only walk your own path and be who you are. A therapeutic model, a guide, a person who does not prove but lives. And if someone wants to join you, you're open. But as equals, without masks, without power struggles, without the need to earn anything. Because in the end, it all comes down to one simple fact. You know your worth, you don't need approval. You create the conditions for your own happiness yourself. And this is not pride. This is what you walked this entire path for. This is your freedom, and no one will ever take it from you. Subscribe for more and find the link to my Telegram Letters to Wholeness in my channel header. See you next time.